right, guys, this is Crazy Kev here, and I'm here with Jayme Hinshaw. Jayme, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries at all. And Jayme, you're just coming off competing in Power Slap not too long ago. Talk to us a bit more about that matchup and what could be for you here.
Yeah, I went up a weight class up and it just didn't work out for me. You know what I mean? I went and I tried to go and compete at 125, which I usually compete at 105 to 115. So, yeah, it was a test and I lost. You know, it sucks. No one likes losing.
No, I definitely hear you when it comes to that stuff. And now, when it comes to Power Slap, when are you maybe looking to get back in there and competing again?
Power slap as soon as they want me back, you know what I mean? There's not much prep for it for me, you know what I mean? So I'm ready whenever they give me a call.
Yeah, no, that's definitely awesome to hear for sure. And now, when it comes to Power Slap, talk to us a bit more about kind of how you got the call and how you kind of got started with that.
With Power Slap, like seen it before, you know what I mean? Like who hasn't? But I never like thought anything about like competing for it until I got a message in my inbox like and they're all like, "Oh, hi Jamie, you know, would you want to try to compete for Power Slap?" And it was right after I had my baby. I was trying to get back in to the ring like BKFC and at that point at the time that they contacted me, I didn't have anything lined up and I wasn't going to be able to get matched up with bare knuckle. So I was all like, okay, this opportunity came. It's something new. I'm still going to be able to compete in some type of combative sports. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, let's give it a try. And I did it. I took no damage. Ended up winning and I had actually a really fun time. You know what I mean? So I was like, hell yeah, let's get back in there. They called me again, and it was supposed to be at 115. But then they're all like, oh, the girl, probably can't make the weight or whatever. She didn't want to make 115. Can you do it at 125? And I was like, okay, let me see. And it was on the card where Paige Van Zant was supposed to get the belt. So I was like, okay, let's try to see if I could compete at 125 and see if I can be in the pool, you know what I mean, to be able to get a belt because in competitive sports, why else would you want to be there? You know what I mean? To be at the top and get a belt. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, let's see if I can, hang with the 125ers and possibly, like I said, get a belt because I know that there's not too much 115ers right now in Power Slap. So I was like, okay, let's test myself. And like I said, I came up a little short. No pun intended on that one that night. But if you go and watch the match, all the comments said, you know what I mean, that I won. So either way, it sucks. Like I said, I still got the loss and half my paycheck that night. So that doesn't change nothing. But yeah, I would love to go back and I hear that there's another card in October, possibly in November. So yeah, I'd love to be able to compete on that card at 115 though.
Yeah, no, that would definitely be awesome. So I see, get back in your natural weight class, like you mentioned. And now another thing I was wondering as well too. Obviously, you kind of competed in all different kind of aspects with MMA and also BKFC, kind of like you mentioned. What was it kind of like to compete in
Yes.
bare knuckle, and what were you kind of doing in your training camp to get prepared for your bare knuckle fights?
For bare knuckle, I switched up well, not everything, but I switched up a lot. I stopped doing wrestling and I stopped grappling. Really, I'd grapple here and there and stuff like that. But I was just focusing more on just my boxing and my footwork, sparring, trying to get my cardio up, and um, I was conditioning my my hands by just like, hitting certain things without gloves, without like any padding and stuff like that. Um, so that was a little bit different, but not too much different from what I was used to.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And now, when it comes to like BKFC or even MMA, I mean, which one did you kind of enjoy competing in more, MMA or BKFC?
Uh, that's a tough one because MMA, I love doing it because I was able to do, it was like everything, you know what I mean? I like to choke people out, and it showed on my record.
Yeah,
Most of my wins were by submission and rear naked choke. Um, so that was always fun just to be able to know that in any aspect of you in a fight that I can be able to protect myself and get that win. And like with bare knuckle, I don't know. I love it too because it's more like a street fight and it's more raw. You don't have that padding, you know what I mean? My two bare knuckle fights, thankfully, I came out unscathed. I didn't get cut. My face wasn't beat up or anything like that. My first one, my hand got a little messed up, and that was just because whenever I punched the girl, she turned and her tooth went through her lip and in my hand, and it kind of got infected, you know what I mean? So I think that was like the only damage I took. I've only been there less than a round, I could say. In bare knuckle, I finished them very fast.
yeah, yeah,
It was
definitely.
very quick. My last bare knuckle, I was actually pregnant, and I didn't know. I was like a month pregnant, and I found out a little bit after I had fought that, I was gonna be able to have a baby, and I was like, oh shoot, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's
wow.
crazy.
Yeah, definitely crazy. Yeah, wow, well, that's definitely a crazy story for sure. I mean, what was kind of going through your head when you heard that?
Whenever I heard I was pregnant,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well, I had knew like around fight time. I know it's TMI, but um, I was supposed to start my period, and I usually do with fights. That's like kind of my curse. You know what I mean? And it didn't come, and a couple weeks passed and it still didn't come, and I was like, this is weird. And I thought that I never could be able to have kids, you know what I mean? I had no scares or nothing like that. So I was all like, this is weird, you know what I mean? Like this has never happened. And then I took a pregnancy test, and right away it popped up, and then I was like, that can't be real. So I went and had a blood test, and then because I was like, well, the blood test ain't, that can't lie, you know what I mean? And it came back, and it's like, yep, you're pregnant. And I'm like, okay, we're doing this.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I was it seemed like I was doing a lot in my career. Like I was starting to build momentum, and then that happened. And but it was such a blessing, you know what I mean? I wouldn't change it for the world. She's brought so much joy to my life and happiness and just a purpose more now again. And just to be able to see her light up and see the world and how she's just so excited, you know what I mean? Like, and be able to wake up to her every day, that's so great. Like it's a give and take, you know what I mean? But thankfully I'm still able to train and do stuff and still be able to compete, and um still have my daughter right there beside me, you know what I mean? And I know a lot of people aren't that lucky and fortunate to have that, so I am blessed in so many ways that you couldn't imagine.
Yeah, no, it's definitely awesome to hear that, you have such a positive outlook with your family and whatnot. And now, I mean, another thing I was curious about as well too. I mean, you mentioned you have your daughter now. I mean, how has your outlook, I mean, kind of changed with fighting? Because, like you mentioned, you're not only training for yourself now, you're also trying to provide for your daughter as well.
Yeah, it's crazy because I have two daughters. I have one that she's not my biological, but I've had her since she was 3, so she's mine. You know what I mean? She's my daughter, and she just turned 18 and graduated. So whenever I was fighting, she was kind of little, but she wasn't as little as my little one. You know, she's only gonna be my other one's gonna be 2 in November, so it's way different. You know what I mean? But no, it's pretty fun. Just like I said, just to see her watch me train and get excited, and now she just goes and does little punches and wants to punch in the bag and kick it and everything like that. You know what I mean? It's adorable, and it's funny because my other daughter, she's actually one of the reasons, her and my coach Arlene Sanchez from FinHB, they're the reasons why I actually was able to step into the gym and do combative sports and do the MMA, do the boxing and bare knuckle and the power slap. You know what I mean? Because at the time, my daughter, she was doing the Fit Kids program, and then they were having, Arlene had wanted to get some women into the gym and be able to show them, you know what I mean, that you guys could have basically, what is it, like self-defense and everything like that, and just trying to bring more women to the gym. So she was doing like this free thing or whatever. So I was like, okay, let me try it with my daughter, because she was real excited. And she's like, well, you want to do it with me? You know what I mean? And so I started working out at the same gym, and it was a mixed martial art gym. And I think it just was fate, you know what I mean? Because as soon as I went in there, I fell in love with it. It was such a great, like, self confidence booster, a stress reliever. It was something where I felt that I got a place that I felt like I belonged, and that I could do something that was productive, and that I was actually kind of good at, you know what I mean? I took to the ground pretty easily, and I liked doing that a lot. And then it just switched to MMA. And I was like, okay, this is something that I really enjoy. And this is something that just, I guess, lit a fire in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, I love this. This gives me this natural high, you know what I mean, that you can't get off of any type of drug, any type of alcohol or anything like that. And that's something that I think everyone should be able to experience in their lifetime. If not, you know, you're missing out. You're not living life. Um like I said, it's this high that you get, and you're always wanting to chase it, you know what I mean? So yeah, I highly recommend anyone, if even if they don't want to get into any type of fighting or combative sports, just go into a gym and try either grappling, wrestling, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, any of those, you know what I mean? It doesn't just bring it brings you a lot of things. I say, I think, like I said, self confidence. It builds friendships and lifelong memories, and just so much. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely think the gym definitely helps you with a lot of those things, kind of like you mentioned for sure. And no, I mean, speaking more about your career as well, I mean, what was maybe one of your favorite fights that you might have had, whether it was MMA, Power Slap, or even BKFC?
Um, I think one of my favorite fights was one in MMA whenever I had competed here in my hometown, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I had the whole crowd cheering my name, chanting my name. You know what I mean? And it gives me goosebumps now, but it was such like a surreal moment. It's like, for all these people just to be chanting your name, you know what I mean? Like, that was something I couldn't explain. And yeah, it was awesome. That one, and being able to go in Japan and be on that big stage whenever I fought the Bellator and Ryzen fight for with the Fedor and stuff like that, that card or whatever.
Right.
Um, so it was such a big attendance, you know what I mean? There was so many people there, and just looking back, seeing just the picture that they had took of how the stadium was before even the fights came in, how many people there were. And it's like that many people seen me perform. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was one of my goals, whenever I went into the gym, was to become a world champion and to fight in Japan. And I was able to do that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely awesome that you were able to do that, kind of like you mentioned. And now, talking a little bit more about that. I mean, what was maybe some of your favorite memories with competing over there as well?
In Japan,
Yeah,
just
yeah, like yeah, just Japan in general. What was that whole experience kind of like?
it was amazing. It was, the people were so nice there. The place was so clean, and it was just felt like there it was a different aura, you know what I mean? Like it was
Right.
just so peaceful there and respectful, and everyone like treated you like so great, you know what I mean? And that was one of a great experience just to have in itself, just to go to Japan, not even to be able to compete, just to be there, you know what I mean? It was awesome experience.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool that you got to compete in Japan, and it's funny that you mentioned that it was clean because I've talked to a couple other fighters, and they've also said the exact same thing when it comes to like it being clean. So that's funny that you also noticed that as well. And now another thing I was curious about, obviously we've been talking a lot about your career and whatnot, but what do you kind of like to do outside the cage when you're not in there training and fighting?
I'm a mom, like I said, I'm a wife. I have, a lot of people don't know, I have chickens, I have dogs, I have ducks, I have rabbits, you know what I mean? Like I said, an 18-year-old daughter and a almost 2-year old, you know what I mean? So all that keeps me so busy, you know, in life itself, and just living life, you know what I mean? Just that, and I love to be able to go outdoors, explore. I'm like a big kid, you know what I mean? I'll go out there and I'll be off running around for hours. You know what I mean? I love to do that. I love to go out into the mountains and just sometimes, just like I say, detox, you know what I mean? And just get by a big body of water, just like the stream, and just, get grounded. Because sometimes all this, the city life or just the stresses of life in general, get to me, and it's like I need some nature, you know what I mean, around me. And yeah, I love to be in nature. That's one thing. I know a lot of people, they prefer the city or the big lights and all that stuff. Me, I would rather be in the country and have a farm and, riding horses and doing all that.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that's a good lifestyle as well too. I definitely can't complain with that. And now getting back into your career, I mean, what's maybe some of your goals that you might have right now with combat sports?
My goal is to get back into great fight shape so that I can make my BKFC awaited return. I know some of my fans have been waiting for it. I've been waiting for it. Um, I want to, like I said, be able to do that again, compete there, and compete again in Power Slap, and just kind of see where it goes from there. You know what I mean?
Oh
Be
yeah.
like,
Yeah, no, I definitely think that would be awesome to kind of see you in one of those spots for sure. And now another thing I was wondering as well. I mean, your nickname, the Atom Bomb. Where did that nickname kind of originate from?
um, well, like I said, I used to compete at 105 pounds at the atom weight division. And I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, so it makes sense. And one time my coach, he called me, like, he's like, "You're like a little atom bomb," because it's like, you hit so hard for how little you are. And I was like, okay. And then he had said it, and some other people had, like a fan had said it too. And I was like, I think that's fate. And that's just how I got it. Was my coach Tom Vaughn. He had mentioned it, and it just, like I said, it stuck. It made sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it makes sense, and that's definitely a cool way of kind of how you got it. And Jayme, it's been awesome talking to you. I appreciate you coming on and taking the time. I mean, what's maybe your final message out there for the fans watching this video?
Thank you guys for watching, tuning in. If you guys want to stay tuned to me and my fight career, follow me on Instagram. It's Jayme___ Hinshaw. And yeah, thank you for everyone that supports me and watches me. Even if you don't support me, if you're watching me, it still helps me. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no, Jayme, it's been awesome talking to you, like I said, and like I said, we're looking forward to seeing you compete, whether it's Power Slap or BKFC, for sure.
All right. Thank you so much.